Good morning, good morning, good morning. The Buckeyes are 1-0. Welcome to another episode of the Buckeye Roast. Q, how you doing on this holiday morning?
Man, I had to turn my volume down. I think you just woke up my whole apartment because I had it all the way up. I'm good, man. It was a good night of college football last night as well to wrap up the weekend. Actually, I know we got a game tonight, but it was a good week in college football. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm up. We in here.
Yeah, man, a good night of college football. Surprise to probably everyone watching. You watched last night's game. I did not. So tell me about it.
Yeah, man. It was Pac-12 football because the quarterbacks were lighting it up. I thought the quarterback play last night was excellent. Both Miller Moss and what's his name, Newsomeyer. But I thought they both lit it up last night. It was a super exciting game, all around it. And USC, I have to say, I did not have them winning this game. I thought they impressed me a bit. I mean, their defense not a great defense. Obviously, secondary gave up plays, but I thought they played particularly well. I mean, LSU had some weapons, so I am impressed. I mean, we talked about Lincoln Riley. He seems looks a little bit better. They're getting a little bit ready for a Big Ten play. So I thought it was a fantastic game, super exciting. Obviously, the drive to end the game, walk off touchdown. Can't ask for much more than that.
You brought up defense and talked about USC before LSU. You know I am a huge Harold Perkins fan, and I saw him being eviscerated on the timeline yesterday. What was going on with Perk 40?
He just needs some work, man. Like I said, he was not impressive last season, and I think he's another guy who like really thrived on the edge and kind of that rushing passer role in that transition to linebacker. Almost how you talked about C.J. Hicks on the weekend, like when he's going A to B. He's excellent. He's fast. When he's got to sit down, kind of process and move around a little bit, it needs some work. So really, he didn't cost them the game or anything. But I thought USC had really good success, even running the football against that defense. I was like, man, they are impressing me. So the Big Ten looking good last night, getting the win over the SEC.
Did you see enough that impressed you out of LSU that you still feel like this season isn't going to just go off the rails, or is this a team that you think may fall after this game?
No, I think they'll be fine. I mean, we've seen we've seen it. Did you see the Brian Kelly presser after? Yeah, hitting the bottle. So yeah, if you don't know, they haven't won an opening game since the national championship year. So this is nothing new for them. But I thought their offense looked good. I did like their quarterback. Obviously, Jason Taylor's son at tight end. He was impressive. They targeted him. He's the new he's Jeremy Rucker. I mean, not Jeremy Rucker. He's a Cade Stover of the team because
Yeah, Jeremy Rucker was the guy that they told us was going to be the
the Cade
historical tight
Stover.
end, and then Cade Stover moved positions 5 times and ended up being Ryan Day's favorite target.
Yeah, he's definitely the favorite target. I know they had a wide receiver that's out early in the year, but I thought their offense looked pretty impressive. But again, it was an old classic shootout. So like Pac-12 football at its best, even though it doesn't exist anymore. So
Yeah,
it was
man.
an exciting game.
It's like a double 10 of Big Ten After Dark this weekend.
No, it was a lot of fun. Like it was a game-winning drive. You can't do much better than that.
Yeah, man. So I watched a lot of college football around the nation. You checked out a lot of box scores and you saw LSU and USC. Who were you impressed with when you were checking out box scores? Like, was there anything that jumped out in the stats when you were looking around the nation that surprised you?
I'd say I didn't check enough box scores, but obviously the Big Ten going 17-1 in the weekend. That's a good sign. Really,
Who took
only
the L?
we talked about it on Friday. Minnesota, Minnesota when they
Oh
set
yeah,
off the
PJ
fireworks.
Fleck. He's a bozo. Yeah, bro. A
They
long
even
weekend.
celebrated it.
My weekends feel like months, bro.
So they even set off fireworks from the loss they took. So I mean, that's the one thing that really stood out to me. I mean, I know Oregon didn't play particularly well. USC stepped it up for the Big Ten last night. So that's the one thing. What stood out for you around the country?
Uh, Alabama. I mean, we talked about everyone stumbling out of the gate, and then they come out and they're like, "Not I." So that was impressive. Ryan Williams, a true freshman, going crazy early. That was impressive. Yes, Alabama and Ole Miss. Ole Miss put up, I think it was like 52 points in the first half, something crazy like that. So those two teams probably the most impressive outside of the Buckeyes, and obviously you got to give flowers when due. Miami also looking impressive this past weekend, despite my rant saying they're not back. I mean, obviously
Lame.
impressive performance.
I'll say this because you kind of took mine, but is there a player in week one that stood out to you? Just a player nationally. For me, it was Ryan Williams. That's the one I was gonna say.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah, that was when you said do you have a player? Q asked me before pre-show. He's like, I'm gonna ask you about national players, and if anyone impressed you, I was like, oh yeah, I got it, Ryan Williams.
we got the same one.
Yeah, don't even got to think about it. But I mean, I guess you could go with, one of the two quarterbacks in the ACC, either Cam Ward or Kyle McCord. I mean, I guess I'll give Kyle his flowers. I mean, he went out there and threw the ball around at Syracuse, and it felt like they were making a statement. Someone called me and they said they're running your college football 25 offense. They're out there running 4 verts. So, I mean, shout out to Kyle. Good to see him get things going. And yeah, man, it's definitely going to get interesting with the way Miami's playing, because I got multiple phone calls of people concerned with the way Miami looked on Saturday. So yeah, man, a lot of impressive performances, a couple not so impressive performances, most notably your guy Dan Lanning there with his Oregon Ducks. What'd you think about that performance?
Honestly, I caught a little bit, but the box score told me enough. I feel like Kirk Herbstreit last night, because that's what he said. He said, "Look, I never in tune to watch Oregon versus Idaho, but when I looked that they won by 10, obviously I heard they didn't get the ball downfield, which I gave Dylan Gabriel a lot of credit this offseason. It was like, for me, as far as transfers, he was the best looking quarterback. They did not look good at all from the highlights and box score I had seen. So yeah, they need to pick it up. Idaho play D1 football. So it is, yeah, they're FCS, so they got to play better than that.
Before we get to this next question, we got to give a shout out to our guy, Tyler, the first one in the chat. Good morning. So appreciate you, Tyler, and good morning to you as well. Q, the title of the show. Did Ohio State look like a national championship contender in week one? I know you did a lot of box score watching. The one game I know for sure you did watch was Ohio State. So tell us, were you impressed with the way they looked? And in comparison to the box scores and LSU and USC, the only other game I'm confident that you watched. So from those 3 teams that you've seen in college football plus the Buckeyes and all of the box scores that you checked out, do they feel like a national contender? Did they look like the world beaters that the off-season media has told us they were going to be, including myself?
Just so everybody knows, I watched a few games this weekend. I got my fix. But no, I thought Ohio State looked really good on Saturday. Again, I thought they started a little bit slow. I could have used a couple more explosive plays on offense, which will come. We're working some things out, but I'm not going to complain on a 52-6 win to cover the spread. I thought they played well. The defense looked, again, fantastic. Flying to the ball. Guys hitting, turnovers. Like they said, Chris Drew cashed two Ohio State 2 defensive touchdowns.
He gave that out on the pregame show. So if you're not watching the best pregame show on the Menace of Sports platform with me and Chris Drew, make sure you tune in, because Chris is printing money over there with the bets that he's giving away. And my goofy ass, who you should never take betting advice from, tried to talk his crazy ass out of it, and he's $700 richer than I am today.
Yeah, I might have took a 1 defensive TD. I'm like, they're gonna create some turnover. They might get 1, but a 2. Yeah, that's a little bit of a crazy bet. But he hit it, so all credit to him.
I'm not giving him all his flowers. He promised us a big man touchdown on defense, but we had 2 pick sixes. I asked him how he gets it done, and he called 1 pick 6, and he said another scoop and score from the defense. So yeah, man, no big man touchdown.
Oh man. But yeah, they created turnovers, which Jim Knowles had talked about all offseason. That was him. He wanted to create turnovers. I felt like we were getting sacks. The defensive ends looked like their recruiting rankings finally outside of Penn State games or a game here, game there. I was super excited with the defense. Jeremiah Smith, as advertised, like I said, the way he fits in, it wasn't like Ryan Williams where he just ran past a guy with speed and just ends up deep open by himself. The route running, the catches, on time, on target. Like that's the stuff you want to see because you're not just going to be able to out athletic guys getting later into the season. So I thought that was greatly impressive. I mean, overall, I'm very happy with it. I need the offensive line to create a little more holes, get a little more push because I thought the running backs played extremely well. Getting Travion in space for a couple times is nice to see. So I think they looked apart as I would say a top 5 team right now until I see everybody play a few weeks. They're definitely a contender and should play for a national championship.
Absolutely. I felt like Ohio State didn't show any glaring flaws. And one of the big things that they wanted to show week one is that they had a capable quarterback. And I feel like Will Howard absolutely showed that they had a level up. And one of the big concerns, a lot of talk out there, did Ryan Day make the right decision? Did Ryan Day go get the right guy? Is this guy going to be better than Kyle? And I think he put any of those concerns to bed on Saturday. And I felt like that was one of the biggest question marks coming into the season about this team was the quarterback position. And I think all of those concerns are for the most part gone because he looked the part. And that's all Buckeye fans wanted to see, or at least I wanted to see, was a guy that looked the part. And it didn't feel like we had that last year, despite what he did week one at Syracuse. And the other major concern was this offensive line. We come out here with a first-time starter at right guard. We're rotating back and forth between him and Carson Hinsman throughout the game. We have Austin Sareveld, a guy who's not projected to start many games this season without injury. We're missing our best offensive lineman in Donovan Jackson. Was it the prettiest performance from the offensive line? No, but on rewatch, it's not like they were getting pushed around by Akron's defensive line. Were they missing assignments? Sometimes, occasionally. But for the most part, they looked solid, and we didn't even have our full rotation, and Tegra's still growing into, or Carson Hinsman, whoever ends up securing that position, is still figuring it out over there. So overall, I feel like the Buckeyes answered most of the major concerns as far. I know it's only Akron, but I mean, as of right now, as far as knowing what we know about this team and the expectations that we had coming into this season, I feel like the unknowns that we had kind of at least reassured me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if Akron is Power 5 decent anywhere, it is on that defensive line. So that was where you would get maybe a little bit of struggle if you're going to struggle anywhere. I mean, obviously their best players are on the D line. So I thought the offensive line was fine. Again, you need work, but sickness, injuries, first game of the season, they were fine, man. Especially Austin Sareveld, didn't see that guy starting. He played every snap.
Yeah, every snap, and we talk about the sickness that was going around during camp, and Ryan Day, was like, that's typical coach speak, talking about, well, we're really getting a chance to develop depth. I'm thinking he wants to pull his hair out, knowing that he doesn't have an offensive line, and it's messing up them getting their reps the way they want their looks to look in practice. And now you get Austin Sareveld to start early in the season. He's getting a ton of reps during camp. It may have been a blessing in disguise getting those guys these early reps. And we talked all offseason, rotation. And to know that at least we played 7 deep. I mean, Donovan Jackson was hurt, but we went 7 deep as far as the offensive line in meaningful minutes. So that was a place of depth concern for this team. And again, I felt like it showed during the game. So all around, from this Buckeye performance early in the season, I feel like they answered any unknown questions about their contention status and solidified themselves as a true problem in the sport this season.
Yeah, and as you touched on, I know we'll touch on it more later, but Will Howard, obviously, I talked about it. I said, yeah, Will Howard may not have the great deep ball. We never felt that way, but his intermediate passes is where he's best at, and you've seen that. And I think that's kind of the difference now between him and Devin Brown. Is Devin Brown's intermediate ball isn't consistent. He does throw the deep ball. He missed one Saturday, so he owes us one. But yeah, Will Howard in the intermediate game is where he's going to thrive. And obviously, you get later into college football, that's where you got to eat at. I mean, short throws, you got to have them. They're pretty easy throws, but in the intermediate 10 to 20 range, if you hit guys like Carnell Tate, he'll make a guy miss and crib it. So I'm super excited to see that. The only thing I was really missing on Saturday, I need a little more BI on my offense. He had so much.
Rewatch the game. He wasn't involved, but he was out there a ton. And I want to get right into it. We saw something that Ryan Day told us, not going to do it, so quit asking. Every year, why don't we ever see 4 wide? Why don't we ever see 4 wide receivers out there? We're zone 6. We got all these wide receivers.
Too good.
They did it multiple times yesterday. So, 2 days ago. I'm like, what day is it? These days off are killing me.
USC did it a lot yesterday. Don't worry. You're right.
But yeah, man, we saw 4 wide receiver sets out there. Brandon Ennis, a guy who projects to be 4 as far as in receiver rotation right now, with Emeka holding down the slot. You saw him getting snaps early in the second quarter, so them getting him involved that early in the game, seeing how dynamic he was when he had the ball in his hands on special teams, I think that shows Ryan Day and Brian Hartline have a real emphasis on getting him in the game and getting him snaps.
Yeah, and I need that. Like I said, it's time for this wide receiver room to be more than 3 people. Brandon Ennis has to play, and he did play a lot. I want them to, put emphasis on getting him the ball. But I would love to see this wide receiver room play 6 deep. And that's all I've been asking for. Is like, there's too much talent on this bench and too many guys not to get something out of them. So I was very impressed with the 4-man rotation and going 4 wide, which Ohio State, which is sin these days. So I'm glad to see it. I thought the wide receiver room performed well, and yeah, keep with the BI, man. He's got to play.
Absolutely. We're going to stick with the slot here for a second and talk some numbers, but there's another number I have to get to first. There are 60 people in here live on YouTube, 70. I just saw the numbers. We need at least 50 likes on this video here, so let's get it going. Get those likes up. Get the chat going. I appreciate everyone here on a holiday with us. But Q, are there records in danger at Ohio State? We've heard all offseason about how Emeka is close to breaking the all-time receiving record at Ohio State in yards. 4 catches for 51 yards on Saturday, 991 yards away from the record. Would need 71 yards a game en route to a national championship to break the record. Does it still feel like a sure thing that Emeka is going to break this record?
That's a good question. Speaking of Emeka, I heard he also listens to us on podcasts and Spotify. So make sure you go.
I was like, what?
Make sure you go over there, hit that sub, leave a 5-star review. If you don't have an iPhone like Emeka does, because he hits us on podcasts, a couple others on Spotify, so leave a 5-star review over there. Appreciate it. I don't know. I mean, he's got 991 yards to the record of a 1,000-yard season, but this wide receiver room is so good that it's just like who's ever open. I think they're going to put a little bit of emphasis on getting Emeka on the ball, getting Emeka the ball, but I feel like Jeremiah Smith just showed us who number 1 is in the room as far as they're making sure he gets targets. So,
and you're reading ahead in the show notes because that was my next thing. I mean, Carnell Tate got a touchdown. Jeremiah Smith got 2. Jeremiah Smith had the most yards. Brandon Ennis is back there lurking, demanding playing time with his explosion every time he gets on the field. Are these SFE guys going to block the record because they just demand the ball that much?
I mean, it's like I said, it's one of those where we had J-Mo, and he, as good as he is, he wasn't getting the ball as much as he deserved. I thought Emeka, I thought he maybe got robbed a little bit. I thought he almost had that TD in the end zone, and that was a heck of a catch. I think Emeka will be highly featured this season, but I would love more if we get more guys, like 4 guys around 800 yards or 5 guys around 700, 600 yards than 1 guy with 1,000 or 1,200, everybody else at like 500. I do want to spread the wealth. I think it just makes for a better team. I think all these guys are the same level of talent. Again, you got 4 5-star receivers you're talking about spreading the ball to, and they're looking the part. So I wouldn't be mad at it. I would love for Mecca to get the record. Obviously, coming back, being the captain. We talked about his leadership in the offseason. That would be great for him. But again, you're fighting with the guys in your room and guys on the bench. Bryson Rodgers recorded a catch Saturday. Jaden Ballard did as well. So you're fighting with all sorts of guys that kind of spread the wealth here. So I don't know. I don't know if he'll get it right now. I would probably take the under, but I do believe Emeka will have a solid season. I do think he'll get a chance to prove he's one of the best in the Big Ten, if not in the nation.
I mean, we've talked about the transformation and growth of Ryan Day as a coach, and I feel like this is another example because, man, if you would have asked me this question a year and a half ago, I'd have said Ryan Day is going to come out here and throw Emeka the ball 23 times week 1 against Akron. And to see that, like, Jeremiah Smith, true freshman, comes in and he's like, they showed you, he is the number one in this offense. Like, that's who they're looking for. And Carnell Tate's out there getting the passes too. The fact that they're not force feeding him the ball and trying to chase this record, and it looks like there is a singular vision of accomplishing the 3 major goals that they talk about every year as far as team goals, as far as beating the team up north, the Big Ten championship and national championship. Like, if Emeka doesn't get the record and they win the national championship, I don't think anyone loses a drop of sleep in Columbus. So just seeing this whole, I guess, change of personality and approach to this team is exciting to see, because I feel like Ryan Day in years past would have been chasing that record week 1.
Yeah, and also too, it's early in the season. They want to get they want to get Jeremiah Smith going because they know, and once Big Ten play comes, he's got to be ready to go and make big time plays week in, week out, change the game week in, week out. I think Emeka on this team will be Mr. Consistent, and when we get later into those more important games, I think he is going to be the guy where they'll be like, okay, is Jeremiah Smith first time walking in here? Is Carnell Tate's first time walking in here? BI as well. Emeka has been here. He's done that. And we know he's going to be consistent and show up in these big games as we've seen over years, Georgia, wherever you want to mention. So I think later in the season, he will move up those rankings and play a part, play a bigger part in the offense. But I think for right now, I like it. They're spreading the wealth. They're rotating guys. And this is what you need to do early in the season. We saw it all over: defensive line, linebacker, like get everybody touches right now and then cut it down when the games get a little better.
Yeah, Emily makes a great point in the chat. She said, not going to lie, I'm happy JJ got the penalties that he did. He's human, he's young, and not that they were major penalties, but any kind, but they're a learning moment, and it's good, and he will make them even better. I couldn't agree with that anymore. Like, just the drop, the penalty early, and then being able to overcome that, like having that experience of, hey, forget about it, make the next play, just one play, keep your head focused and keep going, and learning from those mistakes and letting everyone see after all of the hype he is human, but at the same time, maybe not. The way he's catching 2 touchdowns in his first appearance as a true freshman.
No, I'm with it. I mean, Jeremiah Smith's a freak show. We know we're going to get him, and Ryan Williams were excellent this weekend, as we've said. But like Emily said, how many times have we gone to where, a guy now has to play? Let's say, a couple guys in a wide receiver room get a nick, and now we're at Oregon. It's like, Jeremiah, like, we need you now. And now he gets a drop a penalty there where it's more important and people are on his head. It's like, no, early in the season, let these guys continue to make mistakes. Let these guys play ball. We've talked about it so many times. And later in the season, they're not making freshman mistakes. And this gives, right now, the trajectory now gives Jeremiah Smith the chance. We've all said he's as talented as anybody in college football. He's going to be one of the best players in college football, and he's on the track to do that by getting him those early reps.
Agreed. I couldn't agree more, man. We got a special guest joining us on the show today, but before we bring him up here and get to the next question, again, there's still 70 people watching on YouTube. We're under 30 likes. We need to get that over 50. It should be 70 for 70, but we appreciate everyone tuning in. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure you like the video and throw a retweet on it as well. But a special guest joining us this morning on the Buckeye Roast, our guy, Cleveland Mike. Black man, how you doing?
Black man, what's going on? How y'all living?
So Mike, you ain't want to wake up early and be like, yo, Q, I'll do the show for you. I'll let you sleep in for once.
Mike was up. Mike texted me at 7:50 and said no show. And I said, no, of course Princess Q needs to sleep in. And we're
Wait, don't
starting
worry
at 10
about
on the
me.
holiday.
He
Yeah,
lets me wake up. Not like, yo, I'll take it tomorrow. Don't even worry about it. Get your sleep.
Yeah, I was gonna be with y'all for the beginning, but I had my old man stuff. Had to go pick up my Kroger order this morning. So, yeah. But what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Pretty good, Mike.
Yeah.
It was college football weekend is back. Were you out on the grill for the weekend?
Oh, I will be today, man. That's exactly Kroger order, man. We getting everything ready. About to put some things down on the grill, man.
Mike, I gotta ask you. We talked about it early in the show. Now, to get too away from the Ohio State stuff, but what'd you think of the game last night?
The game last night, shocking, complete opposite of what I thought was going to happen. And honestly, I will say this. I think LSU has a good defensive scheme. I think right now that they just don't have the Jimmies and Joes, especially. It's kind of like what we saw from Jim Knowles in 2022, right? Very attacking defense. But when you're attacking, you need those DBs that can cover in man-to-man coverage. And LSU just didn't have it. But it was a good game. Shout out to Lincoln Riley representing the Big Ten well, man.
There you go.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy, like all of this conference allegiance now that it's like two major conferences.
I'll say you know how we've done on spaces in Twitter and argued with so many people that just want to come for the Big Ten in Ohio State. Eventually, they mold you into it. It's like, I want to cheer for Oregon or you. Like, I don't care, but it's like, nah. Should y'all talk about we play week to week this soft schedule while you got Mississippi State and Vanderbilt out there? Like, nah, bro. Big Ten running this shit.
Nah, bro. I feel like Lil Durk over here. Fuck my cousin. I don't care if Michigan's in the Big Ten and they're in the national championship. I hope they lose, bro.
They can lose. I'm one of those people, and I don't know if y'all are different. At the end of the season, at the end of the regular season, I always want Ohio State and Michigan undefeated because of what we had last year and the years before. Obviously, it changes now, but I think that game just has so much more value. So, unfortunately, I do hope Michigan not lose in the regular season because I just want them undefeated so we can whoop their ass. But that's just me. I don't know if y'all feel that way because some people just want them to lose every game, and I'm like, then this is Auburn, Alabama, where it's like, oh, you beat your rival, really? Because they got beat by 40 against Penn State.
I think that we forget that it wasn't that long ago when we were saying, and even national media was saying, is this even a rivalry game? Like, you at least win one of them, right? I remember back when people were saying, oh, we want that team up north to be good, bring a little bit more juice to the rivalry and stuff. Nah, screw that. F that team up north. I hope they lose every week. I hope that Quinn Ewers, like he said, that team up north, go ahead, bully ball them boys, and beat them by double digits, man. That's what I got.
Bro, I'm buying gold pants off of eBay and sending them to Quinn Ewers if he wins next week.
Let's do it.
Hey, Quinn, drop your P.O. box. You heard it here first.
For real.
We got you.
Mike, before you came on the show, we were talking about stats to monitor this season, and the first one we talked about was Emeka's pursuit of the all-time receiving record. But another one that I'm interested to keep an eye on is the number 30. 30 touchdowns for Will Howard. Last year, he had 24 passing touchdowns. Kyle also had the same amount. That we always said that was the baseline for a Ryan Day quarterback because everyone always says, 30 touchdowns. JT threw for 30, so that should be the baseline here at Ohio State. 10 quarterbacks last year threw for over 30 touchdowns in college football. Do you guys believe that Will Howard hits that number this season, if potentially with a long season, up to 15 games, starts the season with 3 touchdowns in the opener?
Mike, you go first.
Yeah, he's definitely going to. I'm going to over on the 30, especially if we include in postseason for sure. With the weapons that we have, he like you said, he got 3 touchdowns, and really probably should have had maybe 4 or 5 if the Big Ten replay booth can get their stuff together. And then if my guy JJ just don't drop that little easy, because I think he was housing that. So really, like, and if JJ housed that, we'd be probably talking about Will Howard differently. Like, hey, can he get to the 40 mark? I like what I saw out of him, man. Like I told you guys all season, I need to see something out of him, and I saw a little bit of what I needed. So
our guy Dog in the chat, I know he wasn't a big Will Howard guy in the off season. Let us know in the chat, bro. How you feeling about Will after week 1? Q, you were saying?
I'm right off of Mike. We talked about on Friday with the overs, and I said 30 and did I say 30 and a half? Yeah, 30 and a half over under for Will Howard. And I said, yeah, smash the over. I need it. I thought he was impressive yesterday. Not yesterday. Good Lord. You got me doing it now. I thought he was impressive Saturday.
What day is it?
Cages. Miller Moss was impressive yesterday. We get it. I thought Will Howard played well on Saturday. He could have had a couple more touchdowns, like Mike said. I think he's going to hit the over. And I think with this wide receiver room, as we just talked about it, at Ohio State, man, you better get those guys the ball, man. Get them in space and let's go. So I'm smashing the over.
Yeah, man. I thought that was going to be a difficult number, but man, I was really impressed with Will, and I don't want to get overly caught up in his performance against Akron, but it's hard not to because we've seen our starter last year struggle against Akron. So to be able to see him go out there and put that performance out there, I thought it was pretty reassuring. And bro, I think it's one of the most racist comments in all of sports, and I'm going to use it. Deceptively fast. It's tough for that white man can run. He was out there moving. Were you guys impressed by Will's speed?
I didn't get my I didn't feel my 28 miles per hour that Mick promised me. I expected to be blazing with him the only one on the screen. But we knew we were getting with Will Howard. He can move a little bit. He can scramble, and it's like to see somebody scramble. We haven't seen it in a few years now. It feels like even CJ had to put a Georgia in front of him. He's like, oh, now I'm running for my life. I'm out of here. So it was good to see, man. I thought it was impressive. I just need him to pick up maybe like another 6 miles an hour, and I'll be happy.
Yeah,
you got to start training with our guy Gallon Bear. He got the secret.
See, this was the problem. Will actually is the fastest dude. Was the fastest dude in high school and in college, but he's playing close to Akron. He's playing close to Cleveland, and that's why he didn't look as fast. That's what it was. Like, the dudes from Cleveland don't care if you run a 10-1. They on your ass.
On God. Hey, you saw Arvell Reese out there, man. But yeah, I mean, Will Howard, I feel like we didn't really get a chance to see his speed, but I liked his mobility, going and being able to pick up that first down. I retweeted a clip of him running for that first down. I said, this is exactly what Ohio State was missing last year, And I just honestly, our guy Cam, bro, shout out to him because he said, do you think that we beat that team up north last year with Bill Howard? I'm like, I don't know. I got to see it with Will and our team high jail. But yeah, because how many times did we see where Kyle could have just got the first down, kept the chains moving, kept the drive moving, build up some momentum, and we just couldn't do that. But with Will Howard and also his ability to get out the pocket, scramble, looking to throw on the run, I love it.
I hate to use the comparison, but JJ McCarthy-esque.
Not too much. Not too much.
Oh, man, I got more numbers that I have my eye on this season. Which running back reaches 1,000 yards first?
You got to think about that?
What'd you say, Mike?
You got to think about that?
No, it's definitely Trey. It's definitely Trey with the explosive plays. I think he does. Again, the running backs I thought were really impressive on Saturday when they had space to run and they had the offensive line moving people around. I thought they were greatly impressive. This offensive line continues to gel, continues to get better by the time we hit Big Ten play, bro. They are gonna eat. And obviously TreVeyon Henderson. The only thing that's keeping away is I feel like Chip is very much like TreVeyon Henderson, catch the ball. Yeah, I like it. And I feel like he's going to get utilized a lot where he's not getting the handoff, but all-purpose yards are going to go crazy. So that's the only thing keeping me from thinking that may hold him back for 1K because Chip is just like, yeah, you're wide receiver, 4 or 5 for me. You're going to touch the ball. So that's the one thing. But if it's one, I think it's going to be Trey.
Yeah, man, I definitely think it's going to be Trey as well. I feel like he has that game breaking ability. I think Quinshawn is one of those guys that keeps the chain moving, but like Travion Henderson has the ability to score any time he touches the ball. And I feel like that's a rare aspect in college football, whether that be at the wide receiver position or the running back position. I think it's even more rare at the running back position. So to have that game breaking speed, to be able to take anything to the house, I feel like he's going to run it up early. And man, he's looking like the best version of Travion Henderson we've ever seen. So it is super exciting, the talent that we have in that running back room. So much so that we have another running back on the roster in James Peoples that looks like he is going to be a problem for defenses in the third and fourth quarter this year. So I have another stats-based question for you guys. Who rushes for more yards this year? James Peoples or Will Howard?
Mike, leave this one.
Dang, man. I'm going to say I would hope for it to be Peoples. I would
James
really
Peoples
hope for it to
currently
be
has a 12-yard lead on Will Howard right now in this competition.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we saw the burst out of him as well. And like, you know, we talk about Trey, how he can get out there. I don't think he got Trey speed, but that burst that he has and that speed, that wiggle that he has, I mean, I you're talking about like you said, Ryan, going into the third and fourth quarter. We done wore down on some teams and stuff, and you pop this dude out there, bro. He's gonna probably break it. And to be honest, I know that play was like basically on the goal line, but I mean, if we was talking about the play he scored on, maybe being further out, I think he probably would still score. Man, dude was gone.
Would you say Dallin Hayden-esque?
Better.
J.K. Dobbins-esque?
Don't do that.
No. Chill.
You see how I tried to say that?
I had to back out of that one, man. I didn't think you was gonna set me up like that, Ryan.
I walked him right into it.
You walked right into it.
Lord help, man.
Oh man.
Oh man.
No, for me, I would say I think it'll be Will Howard. I think when we get into some of these bigger games, Chip's going to even open up more, use his quarterback run. So I hope it's not the days of JT Barrett where it's like we rely on the QB run, but I think he's going to get a few hundred yards this season running, in my opinion.
It felt like, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, like, I loved Ryan Day coming to Ohio State and revolutionizing this offense because it felt before Ryan Day, every time the quarterback would run the ball, it'd be like, not again. And then, now when the quarterback runs, you get that excitement of like when Justin would take off and you're like holding your breath because as soon as he crosses the line of scrimmage and the camera angle changes, you don't know how much green grass is in front of him and he could occupy that open space quickly. So like, I feel like even with Will Howard running yesterday, it never felt like, oh, you're going to get this guy hurt, or why are we running the quarterback like he's Tim Tebow? It felt like this dude might do something explosive. And that was super exciting to have that feeling back in Columbus because even with as dynamic and great as CJ was, I didn't feel that ever when he would scramble that like, hey, this dude might crib it.
Blame Ryan Day for that. I mean, his first run of his career in a Buckeye uniform, cribbed it.
CJ is going to file a defamation suit against Ryan Day for making people think he's slow. Q, your thoughts on Will scrambling?
Yeah, it's pretty much what I actually said yesterday. It was impressive, man. It's good to see him evade the pocket, not take sacks, making guys right. I felt like the offensive line sometimes let a guy through, and Will was like, "Nah, it's not that easy. I'm gonna get out this pocket. I'll make something happen." So, I mean, I thought it was impressive, and it helps a lot. Like I said, sacks just kill your offense. That's the worst thing that can happen. Either that or the 14th false start by Jimmy Simmons. So
did he even get a penalty?
No, he didn't. Well,
let's go.
A little throwback. But no, I thought his scrambling was great.
I have another question as far as stats, but I want to get to this one in the chat. I want Mike to read it. I want Q to read it. I want Mike to answer it.
All right. Trey reminds me of a young Marshawn Lynch. beast mode, run over you, and he has a second gear. Mike, reaction to that?
Now look, man, y'all know I was very hard on Trey last year. And if you watched the show yesterday, I gave his flowers on being more physical. But beast mode?
There's limits.
Beast mode? The hold my dick beast mode? Pause? No, Kasak, bro, stop. We love you, bro. We appreciate you, man. But stop. Come on, man. Come on. There's levels to this shit, bro. When you talk about the running back position in beast mode, man. We appreciate Trey.
Mike, I felt a different way when he was touching the ball yesterday. On Saturday, I was like, shades of Mike Allstott?
They're just trying to kick me off the show today, ain't they?
Like, is that Mike Allstott running out there for Tampa Bay?
So the next stat that I wanted to talk about was the fact that this is also our stat of the day. All three of us have the same amount of catches as our tight end room. Who was the first to catch the ball?
I will say this. I was very happy with the rotation at tight end. The top three, they all played. Jelani Thurman, we talked about him, and I said it. I was like, Jelani Thurman needs to play for this team. He needs to be a target. He needs to be a weapon, especially in the red zone. First catch, I'll go G. Scott. I think that's a safe choice right there. There you go. I think it's G. Scott. I think he'll get the first catch next week. And of course, Ryan Day will overcompensate. Like, they didn't get a catch. All right. All right. Cade Stover mode. And we got to get these guys the ball. So it'll happen next week. I'm going with G. Scott. Bet it on FanDuel.
I mean, leave it to Q to go with the safest pick on a non-money bet. And I'm going to one-up him, and I'm going to go even safer. I'm going with Will Kazmaier.
Oh, my God.
I think Will gets the first one.
I'm going Jelani, man. I'm sorry, but I mean, after I saw Will out there, I need Jelani to be out there, man. I feel like if we're going to throw the ball down the field with using our tight ends, I think we need to learn our lessons from Cade. When you're throwing the ball downfield, sometimes it takes some athleticism for that. And I believe that Jelani Thurman is a matchup nightmare, and he's also an athletic freak. So I hope it's Jelani. I hope that the coaches see that on tape. I do not want another Cade Stover 2.0 for this. I just don't. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't go through it again.
Yeah, man, that'll be definitely a fun one to monitor. Those were a bunch of stats that I wanted to keep an eye on, and just different things around the team that I wanted to watch going forward. We talked about the injuries on the offensive line a little bit earlier in the show. We also had captain and starting Mike linebacker Cody Simon out of the game. We talked about this a little bit yesterday on Buckeye BS. It felt like you did miss him out there a bit. How important is it for this team to be healthy by the time they play Oregon? So do you want to see these guys just make sure they're healthy by Oregon, or do you think it's necessary that if they're healthy, that to shake off the rust a little bit before that game? Would you like to see them get out there? It seemed like both of them were more precautionary than they were serious injuries. Definitely something to keep an eye on. But do you think how important is it to get these guys back by Oregon? Oregon stumbled out of the gates a little bit, but the Buckeyes still look solid on defense without Cody Simon. The offensive line held up decently well. If the Buckeyes are shorthanded against Oregon, can they still get it done?
Mike, you started one on.
As long as they go ahead and keep rotating, like shout out to our coaching staff, because we was very hard on them on rotating, and then all of a sudden you want to put the guys in the biggest games and then mad when they make a mistake. Shout out to the coaching staff. We didn't see Cody Simon out there looking hurt, being hurt. Rest your guys. And I believe that we will continue to hold on and continue to get better, and those young guys will get better and be ready for Oregon. But not just that, but be ready for those other games like the Penn State and Team Up North game that we have down the road. When you realize, hey, these teams aren't really all of that, yeah, go ahead, play them young guys. Yeah, I think we're going to be good. We're going to build depth going into Oregon in Oregon. And remember, we got a bye week after this game, so that's another time for those young guys to get reps during that bye week as well.
Yeah, I'm right with Mike. I think those guys do need to be healthy and play a bit before we go to Oregon. Obviously, you want to have your best 11 on both sides of the ball and ready to go. But yet again, we got a lot of guys getting reps on Saturday. I'll have stat for y'all later, but there was a lot of rotation. Cody Simon was out, but it didn't feel like we were missing a starting linebacker. I thought Reese and CJ Hicks came in and suited themselves just fine, and even for Ron, Gabe Powers made the most of on Saturday, even though
my real estate agent was celebrating more than his parents.
His stock didn't move very much, but I'll keep y'all updated on the prices. But
through the roof to the moon, as they say. Diamond hands Ron over here holding on to the Gabe Howard stock, and it pays off.
No, I thought my RVO restock again took another jump in CJ Hicks, which was fine, but all over the field, I thought rotation was great and getting guys reps, because this is the thing, we didn't expect, Cody Simon. We heard about Donovan Jackson. He might be out. We didn't expect Cody Simon to be out Saturday. So welcome to the Oregon game. You never know who might get hurt, in practice, who might be out, knock on wood, everybody's healthy. But that's why you got to play guys now. You don't want them like, oh, I'm playing. So I think we'll be fine. Hopefully those guys get reps before they get back.
Yeah, man, I definitely want to see those guys get back out there, but I do think I do think that the guys that stepped up showed that they're more than capable of handling themselves, and I think that they would be just fine against that team. I'm not calling them that. But yeah, no, I think they can beat Oregon with or without these guys, but I would love to see them get healthy. What are the giggles all about? I think we're all laughing at different shit.
No, he put up his own chat. That's why I was geeking. I was like, no, if you hate the Buckeyes or love the Buckeyes, please like the video. If you're awake right now, like the video. That's the kind of energy we need in here.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about was this poll that I put up in the chat, and I'm a little surprised by it. I put a poll in the chat about 20 minutes ago. There's 400 people watching right now. Who looked like the best team this weekend? The options were Texas, Bama, Ohio State, and Georgia. Who do you guys think is winning this poll right now?
I mean, I'll go with Q because I already know.
Yeah. I mean, it better be Ohio State in this poll because it's all Buckeye fans in here.
Bro. We only have 24% of the vote right now.
We came in second.
Yeah, bro. For all the people that say this is just the number 2 team chamber around here.
Y'all are honest.
We are the number 2 team in the nation right now. So.
Georgia is number 1 with 60% of the vote. Ohio State at 2 with 24% of the vote. Alabama at 3 with 10%. And Texas rounding out the top 4 at 7% of the vote. It'll be interesting to see how that poll finishes up later here in the show. We talked a lot this offseason about rotations and playing the young guys, developing this depth. We called Ryan Day Lion Day because he tells us this every year, but we actually saw it. Jay Book put a tweet out there last night. 32 players played on defense, 27 different players played on offense. Were you guys impressed by their level of commitment to rotation yesterday and getting the young guys on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I won't even say just getting the young guys on the field, but getting the young guys on the field relatively early. Like I've seen it where, it's 1 minute left and it's like, oh yeah, it's like a team defense. Get out there, kneel, game over. Oh, they got a rep. Like, no.
So something that I noticed too that I think helped enable that, get them more reps and go deeper into the depth, that it felt like in years past, it was like, all right, we wait until the game is absolutely in hand. We play only the starters, very little rotation, and then the second stringers come in, and they're guys that probably should have been getting even more meaningful reps, and you just let them ride out the rest of the game. You're getting guys like Jelani Thurman, Brandon Ennis, these other guys, Arvell Reese, into the game early, and then you're able to get even deeper because second quarter, you already have some of these guys that you're hoping get playing time in years past. Would they be getting the mop up in the fourth? And they're starting to get in during meaningful minutes. And then you're seeing us go 3-4 deep later in the game. So I thought their attention to getting these guys into the game so much earlier allowed even more people to play, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, in these early games, and I'll give it to Mike after this. In these early games, you have basically once you're up 14, 17, 21, the game's basically you're not losing to these, or you really shouldn't unless guys really don't go out there and execute. So I think even getting guys reps around even better players who are higher in the depth chart, not even just all twos out there where everybody's like, wait, what were we supposed to do? Or it's a lot of confusion. Just like a Hero Canoe standing next to a Tyleek Williams, where it's like, oh, you're supposed to move here, you're supposed to do that. When I come this way, you go that way. Whatever they say in football. So that's what I'm saying. That probably sounded hella random, but y'all know what I mean. Yeah, I think that's essential. Sonny Styles next to Arvell Reese, where we would have thought it would have been him and Gabe Powers, two guys who really haven't played. No, said he used to go play next to a guy who's played all last year. So I think that is essential as getting guys reps with ones, getting twos with ones with twos, ones with threes, twos with threes, all that good stuff.
I'm not really a math guy, but I'm gonna go with whatever you said there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess the route that I'm gonna take is no, I'm not impressed. Because we should have been doing this. Folks done told us, hey, you guys aren't the coaches. Y'all don't get paid $1 million. You don't know why they're not doing it. All this stuff, all these BS excuses. We done seen the Georgias like we done compared to. We done seen the Bamas doing it like we done compared to. And a lot of people was telling me, hey, Georgia lost all of these people. But guess what? Their starters were, for this year, are veterans because they got rotation. This is all we've been asking for, man. So, no, I'm not shocked. This is what elite programs do. That's what you're supposed to be doing as an elite program. So, we shouldn't be shocked.
A big shout out to the YouTube chat today. I asked for 50 likes. They gave us 50 likes. I'm going to get greedy. There's almost 100 people in here. Let's get to 75. We appreciate you guys tapping in with us this morning. I want to talk a little recruiting. The Buckeyes get a commitment this weekend from 2025 wide receiver Phillip Bell. Chooses the Buckeyes, 6'2" receiver out of California, top 200 player in the class of 2025. Brings OSU's class score to 312 as they maintain the number one class in America. Your thoughts on this commitment? Brian Hartline continuing to stack that wide receiver room.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Phillip Bell's a guy he's had his eye on for a long time. We're kind of wondering who's going to be fourth in this room, and it never a bad idea. Bring all the 6'2", 180 receivers that can play. We can take definitely, and I think this is just talking about this class of wide receivers for Brian Hartline. I think this is going to be a fun class for him. We talked about everybody says, Brian Hartline, he only gets the 5 stars. Jeremiah Smith is going to be Jeremiah Smith wherever he goes. All those things. Well, this is truly a class where Brian Hartline's going to be able to get out there and say, okay, I didn't have the top 4 receivers commit to Ohio State. I had guys that bounced around who I saw special traits in that were talented and definitely can go in and develop these guys. So I'm going to keep an eye on this class for future years to come and see how they develop, because I'm super excited. I think there's a lot of talent in this wide receiver room, and I think the nation may not know, and they be like, oh, Ohio State's like it's a down year for them. But when you see these guys go play, and you see these guys ball, and you see the athleticism, you're like, nah, like we got something cooking. So very interested to see. Mike, give it to you.
Yeah, man. Seeing Brian Hartline, it's not the crazy 5-star and but I mean, just remember all of the guys that we put into the NFL and what they're doing in the NFL that weren't 5 stars. So it's still a player to be hyped about. And I like how he did it in style, man. He had his mom, RIP, over his shoulder, a little memorial of her over his shoulder, and then did it on what they said was a yacht or whatever. So young man got a little style with him, man. I liked it for him. Still got to wait till signing day though, because USC was right there in the thick of it, and they definitely had an impressive showing, and he's out of Cali. So this is something that could probably still come down to the wire, Buckeye fans.
Yeah, Gojay talking about our footprint in Cali. It's like he's reading over my shoulder looking at the show notes. It was an SFE visit weekend, and modern-day wide receiver Caden Dixon-Wyatt was on campus for teammate of Chris Henry Jr., won a national championship with South Florida Express this past year, one of the top wide receivers in the class of 2026, and could potentially be one of the receivers and what projects to be, if Brian Hartline is able to pull off a coup like the class of 2023 and land Jabari Brady, Chris Henry Jr., and Caden Dixon-Wyatt, he could have another generational type recruiting class if he's able to land all three of these guys. You saw the picture after the game of Caden Dixon-Wyatt and Jeremiah Smith in the locker room. He's been here multiple times. I know he was here during the student appreciation practice. So yeah, man, great recruiting weekend for the Buckeyes, landing Phillip Bell, a great win with the SFE guys on campus for their visit weekend. So great recruiting weekend for the Buckeyes all around, and awesome to see Brian Hartline continue to add to the number one class in America. Let's see. What else do we got here? Flip Watch. This past weekend, Tom Loy logged a crystal ball for Naeem offered to flip to Auburn. Q, you always say we never do the flipping. They're always flipping us. What's going on here, and what's your prediction? Do you have faith in Coach Walt to take this recruitment wire to wire and land his other 5-star cornerback in this class?
Yeah, I do say that a lot of times. We don't flip players, we get flipped. Signing day is a scary time to be an Ohio State fan. But if there was one dude you're going to bet your money on, it's OG Walt on this recruiting staff. I heard you say he's taking a lot of visits. He's going to visit places, going to Oregon, he's going to Auburn. We've heard Alabama. We've heard all the names. But I got confidence in OG Walt. I think he takes this one wire to wire. The way the corners are playing at Ohio State, I don't know at this point, if you're a top corner in the nation, whoever you are, I don't know how you don't go there, because you see the clear roadmap of like, oh, young guy, super talented, going to touch the field, Jermaine Matthews. Next thing you know, I'm the guy. Next thing you know, I'm off to the NFL. So the OG Walt has really brought this room back. Is very impressive. Naheem Hoffer is one of the best corners in the country, as we know, up there. So I think he sticks. But you never know with recruiting. Like Mike always says, can't trust these kids. But I mean, I've
heard Mike say that phrase, and it did not end like that. So
something like that.
I was like, you started that phrase. I was like, I hope you ain't about to finish the phrase that I heard.
Nah, don't trust these kids in recruiting.
There you go, Q. There you go. You got it right, Q. You got it right.
Oh man,
yeah, man.
But what else do we got here on the schedule? Grades, Q. We got grades.
There we go. I had to fight to get it on the show.
We got grades, but we're not grading players. Give me your grade for Coach Kelly's first game with the Buckeyes. How do you think the Buckeyes offense looked? And did you feel like it looked like a different offense than Ryan Day's offense, or did it look like Chip Kelly calling Ryan Day's offense?
Mike, I'll let you start with this one.
I say it looked like a mix of both. I'll go ahead and give him a B. I would say still got to get that offensive line together, which is his job, to push those coaches, getting them together. So I give him a B. I saw some people complain about the play calling, and I'm like, bro, the play calling is supposed to be vanilla. We're playing freaking Akron, bro. I don't think that Chip Kelly has even gotten in his bag. I mean, if we was probably to put Chip Kelly's binder or whatever of his plays and everything on this screen like it's that big. So I think that all we saw was some vanilla, and I'm happy with it, man. We saw that things can work. We just got to execute. So I give Coach Kelly a B.
Yeah, I'm probably at the range of a B plus for Chip Kelly. He did keep it vanilla, but I saw him adjust to the defense when needed be. I mean, he sat out and he was like, okay, these guys are going to get the ball. And like Jeremiah Smith, he made sure he got the ball. He made sure people at home were happy. So I want to see a little more of, using guys in space, but he did use it for Trey. I like to see, him put some more speed on the field if we have the chance to get a Ballard running sweep or a Mylan Graham out there and using those guys, what Chip Kelly is known for. But so far, I mean, I had no complaint. I did see the play calling. The people didn't like the play calling as well, but I was like, what are you complaining about?
Right.
Y'all are fucking haters, bro. I give Chip Kelly an A++. We got 3 SFE touchdowns on Saturday. Like, my biggest fear was that he wasn't going to get the ball distributed to these wide receivers, and we got 3 passing touchdowns. A in my book.
See, that was your fault, Ryan. It ain't got nothing to do with us.
So we saw a pretty balanced attack yesterday, 31 passes, 33 runs. Do you think that's going to be the balance throughout the year? Do you think that we pick up on the run more? Do you think we pick up on the pass? Or do you think we have a pretty balanced attack for the season?
I would expect it to go a little more on the run side as the offensive line gets more in sync and gets better. I mean, they didn't have a lot of stats, but I thought Trey and Quinshawn were great on Saturday. Honestly, I talked about the pass block that really lit it up, and that was sort of the highlight. But you've seen the way these guys run. You've seen them when they get in space, and I think Big Ten guys are like, I surely hope that offensive line doesn't get going because I do not want to deal with these guys at the second level. So I think it'll go a little more on the run, but I like the balance. I mean, if it can stay like that, you won't get no complaints from me.
Agree.
Yeah, I think it's going to go. Oh, my bad, Ryan.
No. Go ahead, Mike.
I think it's definitely going to be a balanced attack. This is something that Ryan Day has been speaking on, wanting to be balanced, and we have not been. Ryan Day, he's a quarterback guy, man. He is still going to want to throw that ball. So I think that's in his identity. I think he's still going to call those. And then also, you got to keep your wide receivers happy as well. So I'm expecting a balanced attack. And I was talking to our guy over at Category 6, Big Homie, and we was going through Ohio State's losses and everything. Y'all know that we didn't even have a 100-yard rusher or a rusher ever in any of our losses. So, I mean, I think that's something that Ryan Day is going to want to prove, like that we can run the ball, but it's still going to be balanced. So,
yeah, actually, I didn't know that. It's a good stat.
I thought he said we didn't have a 100-yard rusher yesterday. I was like, oh, yeah, I knew that.
No, I mean, go ahead, Ron.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, down the stretch when we've won big time games. I mean, you think about the game against Clemson back a couple of years ago, like the offensive line starts moving people, and Ohio State basically seems impossible to beat when you have those rushers who are going crazy. So I'm with Mike. That is an interesting stat, and I expect the running to be better this season and when we get those big games because we didn't run against Georgia really at all, struggled against Michigan. So, I mean, he's hitting right on it. That's something that's got to change. And Chip Kelly, the creative run master himself, help us out, man. Get us there. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm looking at the chat, and Punk must have flooded the chat with burners because it looks like the fucking Bulldog roast over here because I'm still looking at this poll of who looked best on Saturday, and the homerism has not taken over, and Georgia is still leading this poll with 55% of the vote. The Buckeyes only holding 25%. Punk, you got to be stopped.
Texas is catching Bama, though. That's crazy because Texas was really down there.
Absolutely. I wanted to get one more grade. How would you grade the rotations overall from the staff? 32 players on defense, 27 on offense. We saw Jelani and BI early. We saw Gabe and Arvell. Arvell out there with the helmet comms in week 1. 6 deep at defensive end. How impressed were you with the Buckeyes rotation if you had to grade it?
I'm going to piggyback off Mike a little bit. I shouldn't be as impressed because we should have been doing this forever. As I said, I thought it was good on Saturday. I'll probably say a B+. I won't quite give it an A, but playing 3 tight ends, getting those guys out there, BI out early. I would still like to see us go 6 deep in the wide receiver room. I want to see guys a little on the defensive end, maybe a little more early in the secondary. Get him a couple more minutes. I thought Lathan Ransom was out there who had a game Saturday, man. Yeah, we haven't talked about him too much, but Lathan Ransom balled out, and I was questioning how good is he as far as safeties in the nation? Would y'all say he's a top 5 safety in college football?
Bro, I want to reach through the screen and punch you in the head right now because you just stole my answer to the final question of the show and started Lathan Ransom segment And that was my way I was wrapping the show. Yeah, he's fucking great, Q. He's awesome.
I just felt like we didn't talk about him enough. Hey, y'all, I didn't say anything about Lathan Ransom. So when Ron mentions it later, just act like it's the first time. Everybody be surprised.
Them light skins gotta stick together, man.
Oh man.
But yeah,
Go ahead, Mike. Thoughts
on
on Lathan? I thought Lathan looked absolutely amazing. A lot of people argued with us in spaces during the offseason in regards to us when we would say we have the best safety duo in the country, and they'd look at us like we're crazy, and I'd look right back at them like, what's behind me? Like I said what I said. Like, and Lathan Ransom came out there and absolutely balled out. Mike, what are your thoughts on Lathan?
Yeah, I don't think that Lathan gets enough credit, man. I think the only thing that's against Lathan at this point is obviously he shouldn't cover a speedy guy, right? And then the only other knock is injuries. You know, the way what this guy has done and shown this team, Buckeye Nation, you cannot be more happier with this guy. From when Jim Knowles first came in, him coming off of breaking his leg, getting no reps in the spring, no reps in the fall, and coming out and shutting down who we were told the number 1-2 tight end in the nation at Michael Mayer. And we know he can shut down tight ends. That's why I love seeing him be put on tight end. So also, just straight dog. Somebody said in the chat, just a straight dog. He'll come down, he'll hit you. He energizes the team. And that's another thing that no one's talking about. Like, yeah, we talk about his play and what he does, but his presence to that team can be felt, especially in the secondary. The team gathers around him every time he makes a play, even on the sideline, bro. Shout out to Lathan, man. He's definitely like, I look up to him as a captain. So.
And Goj said exactly what we said on the show yesterday. That GA film, he can never escape it. And it's not even fair because that is Jim Knowles and Tanner McAllister's fault. And he should have been asked to do what he was asked to do in that game. And you could place the blame on those two, not Lathan Ransom. And he's going to shed that bad film when people see him play his actual position. Our final question of the show. I asked everyone to pretend that they're Ronnie 2K and they got to up the ratings in college football 25 after week 1. Who on the Buckeyes is getting a ratings boost in the game based on how they play? My answer, Lathan Ransom. Q told us that he's absolutely balling out. That's who I'm upping their ratings. I feel like we need to bump that hip power, that speed, pursuit, all of that shit needs to go up. So yeah, man. Lathan Ransom is my guy that I feel like I'm pounding on the doors at the EA offices if my guy don't get a ratings bump. I know he's already balling on that game, but he needs even more of a ratings bump. He needs to be one of the best safeties in the game, like he is in real life. Q, anyone not named Lathan Ransom deserve a rating bump for the Buckeyes?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Arvell Reese, man. I gotta keep up in my.
Oh my god, here we go. Pumping stocks over here.
I'll keep up in the stock, man. I thought he played really well on Saturday. If there wasn't a knock on the team, I thought the tackling in space was a little bit rookie-ish. I seen some misses. I mean, CJ Hicks had some. I see Caleb Down missed one. I seen Arvell Reese miss a couple. So I need the tackling in space to get a little better from the guys in the middle. But outside of that, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he looked the part. So definitely he gets a rating boost from me. And obviously also to touch on CJ Hicks, he got a lot of criticism Saturday. And again, I'm here to back CJ. I do not think he was bad at all. I still think he needs reps and needs to play a little more. Not quite a ratings boost for this week, but CJ, catch me next week when you improve on what you did last week. So there you go. Mike.
Yeah, I would say I want to go ahead and I remember hearing Jack Sawyer complaining about like his power and strength ratings, man. If you want to leave Jack Sawyer unblocked or just put a little tackle on him, just understand he might kill your quarterback. So, I mean, definitely need those ratings to definitely go up for Jack Sawyer, man, because if he continues what he's doing, I might just go ahead and call him the QB killer.
We got QB Sawyer, like Ron said. He took off all that the natural shoulder pads he was wearing. All these years, Jackson already have shoulder pads on. He was just using the Mick project and going out there and suiting up. So now that he's skinny Sawyer again, he's getting after it.
Yeah, man. And one other guy that I wanted to throw in there, Austin Saraveld, man. First offensive lineman from that 23 class that we see get on the field and really make an impact. Great to see an Ohio kid get out there, and we talk about offering these Ohio guys and what they can, the contributions that they can make to this team. Every time you look at a national championship roster for the Ohio State Buckeyes, the offensive line is littered with Ohio guys. Austin Saraveld, a 23 guy, making an impact early in the season, stepping in for our best offensive lineman on the team, Donovan Jackson. So to see him be able to fill in and be one of the first guys in that class to get on the field, I keep saying the phrase "hats off" to him, even though I never take my hat off for this show. Gotta find a new phrase to salute my guy, Austin Saraveld, and we gotta get him a ratings bump in the game as well, man. But that's all I have for the show today, man. The chat was absolutely booming. They were killing it on the likes. We have over 500 people watching between Twitter and YouTube. Big thank you for everyone tuning in. A special thank you to our guy, Cleveland Mike, for joining us here on The Roast this morning. If you missed us yesterday for Buck IBS, make sure that you catch that on the channel. Tons of post-game reaction from us all over the college football landscape this past weekend. Chris Drew and I were on Bleacher Report for the postgame. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you check that out. Mike did a postgame show on the Ohio State Voice of College Football channel with Mark Rogers, so make sure you check that out. I made an appearance on Buck's post-game show on Menace to Sports. Man, we were giving takes anywhere that they would take them this weekend, man. So you can find us if you didn't get enough Buckeye content and you need to hear more about the game. We gave you hours worth of content this weekend. Fellas, let the people know where they can find you despite all of those other places that we've been this past weekend.
Yeah, you go ahead, Mike.
You can find me in the Discord. Link should be in the bio. Best Damn Media in the Discord. You can also find me on Twitter at 216_wildboy.
Yeah, appreciate the chat coming out, y'all. 500 live is crazy for us. So we appreciate that. Make sure you hit those likes.
New record, I believe. That's the new record, Buckeye Roast. Non-commitment reaction record. Yeah. So appreciate y'all.
We gotta get more commitments on. We get commitments every day. We can quit our jobs. I love the commitment. It'd be like 2K. Messed up my internet last time. I was like, it's too many people in here. But greatly appreciate y'all coming through, bringing the energy. If you want to find me, I'm C-Boy Quentin on Twitter. Find Johnson both Instagram and TikTok. And I also did a post-game reaction on minor league films. So go over there, catch my post-game reaction. There's post-game reactions everywhere. So that's where you can find me at Ron.
No, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at 2Tees. It's 2_TEES. You can find me here 7 days a week and on the Menace to Sports platform on Saturdays for the Best Damn College pregame show and Bleacher Report for postgames. Actually, Chris Drew and I will be doing a Wednesday appearance on Bleacher Report too. So we are on Bleacher Report 2 days a week now. So we're really up in the shows. We're up to like 10, 11 a week. So if you miss us, don't worry. There's more than one a week. So we are absolutely everywhere this season. Appreciate you guys tuning in to this episode of the Buckeye Roast, and you know how it ends. Go Bucks and OH.
I-O.
Yeah.